Hey friends! Something interesting happened to me tonight. I asked Spirit if I should share and was told that I should. I guess it makes sense because Spirit wants me to start telling you guys slowly, I guess. I don't know, I'm gonna feel it out as I go and see. But Spirit wants me to start sharing my spiritual warfare journey with you guys. And I'm going to be recording the first part of that soon when I have time because I'm going out of town on Tuesday, so I haven't had time to do it yet. But I'll be doing that within a few days or so. So something interesting happened tonight. And like I said, I kind of questioned if I should share it. But like I said, Spirit told me to, so I'm following directions. So this is, okay, we're going from the flip side. We went from the divine angelic blueprint hitting Earth with Schumann's resonance to scary stories. Earlier on, I was in the kitchen and I was cooking and I heard the strangest sound, like 100% definitely heard it with my ears. And I looked all around like, what the fuck was that? It sounded like a cross between a growl and a howl, because the first thing I did was look at my dog because she sometimes howls. I'm not sure why. Like, certain music makes her howl. And I'm like, does she like singing along? Or is it like a certain frequency that's triggering her? I think it's funny, but I'm like, what's going on? Anyway, my dog was standing right next to me because I was cooking and she was not howling. And so then I was like, okay, what the fuck was that? And because it was pretty loud and very clear and sounded like an animal. So couldn't figure out what it was. I was walking around. I went and checked with my daughter if it came from her computer or something. Couldn't figure out what it was. Now, fast forward a little bit later, and I connected with Spirit. I wanted to ask Spirit a question. I don't even remember what I wanted to ask now. I don't think I ever did ask. Oh, you know what? I think I wanted to ask what the growl was, actually. Before I got that far, I always start every single Spirit communication, because I have defeated spiritual warfare, because I've have defeated demons, every single time I connect to Spirit with my pendulum to ask questions, I always, and actually anyway, if I meditate, if I use cards, I always say this, always. I always call in the highest spirit beings of the highest light, and then with the pendulum, I ask and confirm who I'm talking to. I make sure that I absolutely always call in Jesus. I almost always just talk to him. Sometimes I'll talk to someone else, but I always call him in. And the reason why is because years ago, I loved watching the Ghost Adventure shows. I think it really was called Ghost Adventures, the one with Zach Baggins. And I also really loved Destination Fear with Dakota and his sister and cousins and stuff. I really enjoyed Destination Fear. Like, I thought it was hilarious. Like, I would crack up at the shit that would happen on that show. It didn't scare me. And I fully believe it was all real, but it didn't scare me. And I would just, like, I just thought it was hilarious. So, and also very affirming and validating too. And the reason why I always call on Jesus is because on those shows, and there were some others that I watched too, when they use the spirit communication tools, the demons don't like, and actually I guess it's not just the demons, just the haunted spirits at all, because some of them are ghosts who are not at rest. So they don't like Jesus. And if like anybody refers to Jesus or is wearing a crucifix or a cross or talks about Jesus or anything like that, they always like latch on to that and say stuff about that. Or there was a demon in one of the shows. It wasn't one of those. It was a different show. I don't remember which one though. There was a demon that was demanding that the crucifix be removed from the place that they were, because they had brought in a crucifix with them. So that's one reason why, for one thing, I have more crucifixes now, and I recommend them for protection. And another reason why I started speaking directly to Jesus in the first place, because I knew that demons do not like being in his presence. So anyway, so I asked to confirm that I had called him in. But I always will, like, I get multiple people at the same time sometimes. Like, Jesus is always there, but other presences will step in too. Like, I've noted, I can tell when, like, other angels or other ascended masters start talking to me, and I will ask them to confirm who I'm talking to. And I have also, because of how I connect, I have also confirmed in the past when negative spirits have tried to talk to me, and they've tried to, like, pretend like they were Jesus, or pretends like they're just like, I don't know how it works. Like, I'm like, they're in the room, they're trying to like hide behind him. Actually, I shouldn't say pretend like they're him. They're like trying to hide behind him, because I do feel like I get him, but at the same time, they try to allow his presence to hide the presence of their own. So, but the way that I connect, I force them to admit if they're here. So I connected. Well, in the past, let me finish what I was saying. In the past, I have had demons admit that they were here, that, like, because of how I asked, they were forced to admit that, yes, they were here. And so then I banished them or whatever, because I know how to banish them. So tonight when I did that, I confirmed Jesus's presence. I always do the same thing. I asked if there was any demons or entities present. No. I asked if there was any evil galactic beings present. No. I asked if there was any evil spiritual beings of any kind present. No. I asked if there were any lying or trickster spirits present. Yes. And I'm like, what? I haven't had a liar trickster spirit around me in a long time, which they're not fully evil. They're not evil spiritual beings. And there's a variety of types of them, so I don't want to completely categorize them, because I was previously thinking them of as like lesser entities before, but now I realize that they are also dead people, ghosts who are like not at rest. So fine. But anyway, so basically I figured out with my pendulum that there was a trickster spirit here. And doing my normal banishment, like what I would do for the demons, wasn't working. I have come to find out from Jesus now afterwards that that's because the demons operate by different rules than the dead people. The demons, like, because of the laws of spirits, like, if you kind of put your foot down with them, like, they have to honor your request to some extent. That kind of gets complicated when you get into spiritual warfare, because obviously we can't simply, demand that they go away. But, like, there's the rules are different. I don't know the exact rules, okay? I just know that that's what you just told me, that when I banish a demon, it has to, like, abide by it. And it'll come back, but in the moment it does, at least. But I couldn't banish the spirit because it was not a demon. And because it was a dead person who was haunting, and it was able to, like, ignore my request for it to leave. So I had to do a full-on deeper meditation to extract it. And I honestly didn't even realize what I did until afterwards, but apparently I crossed it over and transmuted it to the light. So he's no longer a dead person haunting the world, haunting the earth. So, there's a plus. But anyway, so now I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to have to start over. I didn't think it would take me longer, but tangent. So I will have to finish in a second video. But so here's what happened and how I got this little friend tonight. And yes, I'm assuming it's a he. He was the source of the growl howl from the kitchen earlier as well. Okay, I'll leave you in suspense. Hold on. So once I had successfully removed him, which I confirmed with Jesus afterwards, like, I don't even know how many times I asked, because I wanted to be 100% sure. I asked over and over and over again, did I definitely remove it? Is the trickster spirit still here? Like, 100%, 1,000% confirmed that it's gone. And then I asked Jesus what happened. So remember I said I used to watch Ghost Adventures and Destination Fear and those. I stopped watching them a couple years ago, I would say, because I became aware that from watching shows, you can bring spirits to you. Like, you can attract them to you. And I did not want to do that. I spent 3.5 years defeating major spiritual warfare. And I had absolutely no intention on accidentally bringing anything to myself, at least not right now. Like, I know that I am meant to fight these things in the future, but I don't want to do that right now, okay? Like, I need like a recovery period from all the spiritual warfare I defeated. And I also don't want to bring anything to myself that could potentially delay, my complete union. Like, in the reunion phase, things are fine, things are great, like, we're really close, but I don't need to attract any attacks that might cause issues that delay union more. So yeah, I stopped watching those shows. And you know what? Like, honestly, it's not even just those shows. Like, I have found that I can't watch true crime shows, or I can't watch documentaries and stuff like that have like dead people because I instantly connect with the dead person. Like, when a year or two ago, when I was visiting my daughter, my older daughter, and I was watching one of those shows on Netflix or something late at night, and those shows show the crime scenes. They show like pictures of sometimes the dead bodies, not just like blood pools on the ground or whatever. And when I would see that, like, it's like an instant transportation. It's like the spirit like sees that I can recognize it, and it like comes to me immediately. I'm like, motherfucker, like, can you please fucking go away? And I have to banish it. I have to cleanse it. I have to do whatever. I don't remember how I got rid of it last time, but I was visiting her, that was happening. I was watching these shows, and I kept like having all these spirits pop in, like, hey, you can see me. And I'm like, ugh. And they're spirits that are not at rest. So it's like annoying, and it's a little bit of a hassle. So I can't even watch those shows, or I have to be very careful if I watch those shows. I was watching that Love and Death show that just came out on HBO Max about Candy, because I watched the first Candy show on Hulu, and I was surprised that they did another one on HBO Max. But the one on HBO Max flashes to real images from her death. And I was like, dude, I did not need to see that. Like, don't just like randomly throw that in people's faces. Like, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, you're sending spirits to people. So anyway, so yes, I'm super careful of that, because whenever that happens, I got a spirit I got to deal with, and I have to send it away, or transmute it to the lights, cross it over, banish it, whatever it is that is required of that spirit, because they just want attention. So, because they're not at peace. I wish I could remember, but I don't remember what I had to do with those ones back then, because it was like 2 years ago. They meaning my older daughter and her fiance, have had me cleanse their place before, because there's been two different times that they've heard something or whatever, and I've had to cleanse their place before, their places. So anyway, so I stopped watching Ghost Adventures and Destination Fear, because I realized that I could accidentally attract those spirits that they are interacting with to me. Like, even though those spirits live in whatever places, that the haunted places that they're investigating, through viewership, they can connect to people instantly, and they're in the spiritual realm. Like, they can go wherever the freak they want to go at any time. So yeah. And I just did not, I was like, I will watch them again in the future when I'm ready, when I'm, in union, when I'm not worried about what may or may not happen. So fine. And so this morning, two things. I was watching Joe Pickett on Paramount Plus, which this season is very disturbing. Like, it's like Goliath on Prime, where the each season was so like different from the previous. And there was one really disturbing season of Goliath too. And it's like that now for Joe Pickett, like super disturbing. Like the very first episode, they're talking about Wendigos and these freaking creepy ass twin brothers that live in the forest were mutilating horses. And I was like, what the fuck? And there was a witch too. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I actually asked Jesus, like, I asked him this morning, watching the latest episode, when there was a fucking human head on the wall. And once again, I'm like, I do not need to see that. Do not flash to that. Like, oh my God. These directors are pissing me off. Anyway, at least that's fiction. At least that's fiction. But I asked Jesus this morning, I'm like, is it safe for me to watch this show? And I also had seen within the same time frame, I had seen like a short on YouTube, like maybe 1 or 2 minutes long, from Destination Fear, except that it's now called Project Fear, and they're distributing it on YouTube because they got canceled by Discovery Plus. And that there was a 2-minute short that popped up on my YouTube when I opened it, and I don't know, something about it caught my eye and I watched it. And I have not even watched one of these shows in forever. The last time I watched one was Ghost Adventures. I want to say it was like one of their first things they did after the pandemic. It was at this haunted hotel, and there was a serial killer that had murdered there. And I could tell from watching the show that I was picking up the serial killer's energy. And I was like, oh, no. Turn it off. So I have not watched one of those shows since then. Okay. And I just happened to watch this 2-minute clip on YouTube. And in that 2-minute clip, they must have been using one of the spirit communication devices, because that's the only, how else would it communicate? And the spirit, was picking on them. It called out Jesus and Christian because 2 of them were wearing crosses and had brought up Christianity. And they were like, what, do you not like Jesus? Do you not like Christians? And then the spirit did the like creepiest, funniest cackle and strongest that I probably have ever heard from one of these shows. Cackle, almost like a witch cackle that I've ever heard. And I laughed hysterically at it. And I actually even questioned a little bit if it was real, because it was that distinct. After watching that and Joe Pickett with the creepy head on the wall, I asked Jesus if it was safe for me to watch these shows. And he said, yes, but I have to cleanse myself after watching them. And I fucking forgot to cleanse myself. I fell asleep instead. And he ended up confirming tonight that the fucking trickster spirit that was here was the spirit from the Project Fear clip that I saw on YouTube, that it basically was mad that I didn't get scared, and then I laughed at it, and it came here to try and scare me. And it did that fucking growl or howl or whatever the fuck it was in the kitchen, and it was trying to scare me. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I am a little bit mad that it got some satisfaction. It didn't scare me, but it startled me. And that's different. Like when stuff like jumps out at you or startles you, like that's different. You're not in fear, but it does like make you jump for a second. So I'm mad that it got that. But I was like, unbelievable. I was like, I'm not watching any of that crap anymore, because I'm not bringing any more spirits to me. And thank God, like I found it right away and was able to successfully transmute it over to the light. And then Jesus confirmed that it was a dead person who's not at rest. I don't know where they were, some sanitarium or something probably, and it was haunting the place. And so, it picked up on me and it came to me to try and scare me. So now it's gone. Now it's transmuted to the light, destroyed, however you want to think of it. But anyway, so fair warning, don't watch those shows.